Well, we need to talk about Harry Kane, don't we? This talk about him being leggy. Crouchy, I think you are the leggiest England striker of all time. I don't think anyone's had longer legs than you have and more superior legs. So I feel slightly sorry for Harry Kane in this because he's always been asked to come short, isn't he? You know what it's like. You've been asked to play in different roles up front. The Harry Kane that we want to see is someone getting on the end of crosses, or someone who's having little balls played in behind. He's being reduced almost to a man who just has to come short so that the other players can bomb on. So I do feel a bit of sympathy for him when people are criticising him.
But somehow for Tottenham, he manages to combine both. You know, he does come short, but he does manage to get in the box as well and score goals.
What about putting back in defence? He was there once. You never know. Like maybe put him left back. See, try that. You know, like switch it up a bit.
He got the most assists and the most goals in the Premier League, right? He's not a bad player for a couple of half bad games. He will come good.
Southgate's come out and said he's definitely starting. Right? I thought that was an odd move.
Do you know what that reminds me of, Chris? That reminds me of Terry Venables before Euro 96. So Alan Shearer went into that tournament and he hadn't scored for ages for England. And there was a lot of people saying that Shearer shouldn't start. And Venables went all the way through the build-up to Euro 96 going, no, he's starting. No, he's starting. He's the best striker in the Premier League. He's starting. And then Shearer scores in the opening game and he's off and flying. You'll remember that, Crouchy. And I suppose for a centre-forward, if you have your manager saying that, then you're like, oh, great.
I do think that is as from a striker's point of view, and it's almost as if he owes him one now. You know, like Kane would be like, well, okay, I need to do well. Similar situation like I told you about when I was at Southampton and Harry just came in and said, why are you not playing? He said, you'll be my striker till the end of the season. I just went on a mad run of form. I think confidence is such a key factor in football. So when your manager is behind you and supports you, I think it definitely psychologically will be a factor. Like he's probably talked to his backroom staff and said, how are we going to deal with the situation? And gone like, no, we'll back him all the way and he'll come good. And he will. He's top player.
Talking about confidence, do you think of all the players on the pitch, it is almost paramount that your star striker has confidence and has it instilled in them by the manager?
Yeah, of course it's important. I think confidence, like, you know, lack of fear, being able to take the ball. This is when you sort of, you can decipher the men and boys, you know, like, because it's so difficult in a tournament you've got to be brave. You don't want to be the man to let the nation down. You know, if you give away a goal, imagine being a goalkeeper, you know, you throw one in or do a crap back pass or, you know, let your man score at a corner. But then the other side of it's the sharp end. If you miss a chance, if you miss a penalty, you know, these things are remembered forever. Like it's the small little factors. And unfortunately, there is something in the back of your mind which like, don't give this away, don't miss this chance, you know. And it's the fear of what if holds you back. You know, that as a footballer, it's the worst thing you can have. What if? Because there's always what ifs, and you are going to make mistakes. It's going to happen, but you don't. And it's that fear and that sort of, and that's why you have to be brave. And I think that's why I think lots of people have been calling for Jack Grealish to play, because I interviewed him recently and there's no fear in there. There's like, I think he wants it, and you can tell that he wants the ball and he's not scared to give the ball away. And I just don't feel that there's that fear. You need people to play. It's like what Gaza had when he took the game by the scruff of the neck and produced, because he just didn't have that what if mentality.
But what worked for you as a striker then? So in that situation, do you want to be talking about it or do you want to kind of ignore the issue? I'm just wondering what it's like for him at the moment. Like how is it for you as a striker when you're starting to feel this pressure? What is the best way to deal with it?
For me, I'd totally ignore it. When I was going through a spell where I wasn't scoring, obviously there's a famous one at Liverpool, like the more I thought about it, the worse it would get. Yeah, of course you need to work things out in your own head, but just talking about it's the last thing you need to do. You just need to go and prove it.
How stressful did it get for you?
Listen, there's bigger stresses in the world, but at that moment it didn't feel like there was. It can consume my whole life, like not being able to score at that particular moment. And I was doing, like you say, I was doing things well, and like I remember like Rafa pulling me and saying, "Oh, you're doing great, and just continue what you're doing." And but I knew it was eating me up, and it was becoming a real problem. It was all I thought about, you know. And there's no way that you can say to me that Harry Kane, for instance, or everything he's done in the previous season, I reckon he'd be sitting there only thinking about these last 2 games and putting it right, you know. And that's how top players like him think. You know, he's not thinking about what he's done in the past. He's thinking about right now, and he needs to perform.
And then when he scores, that feeling will be amazing, right?
That's it. And you know, it's to be honest, it's 2 games. You know, it's like it's ridiculous that we're sitting here talking, but it's 2 tournament games, and that's why we're getting worked up about it.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.